everyone, it's New Jersey Garden. I'm just showing you a few things that are in bloom right in the front of the house right now. It's mid-August. We're in zone 6A in New Jersey, and I wanted to show you this knockout rose bush. I don't take a whole lot of care to prune it. I work in someone else's yard doing some garden work, and I spray, she has knockout roses, and I spray them with this spray that works very well. It's called Dr. Earth spray. And it gets rid of, it has peppermint oil and various oils in it. It's a natural pest deterrent, and it works really well to prevent some of these holes you see here. I have an ant problem where ants eat the holes, eat the leaves, make holes in the leaves, and I also have, Japanese beetles that will come. And in particular, in this part of the country, knockout roses are susceptible to mites. They make little holes in the leaves. And so knockout roses are easy care and beautiful, but they're still work, and they're probably this is the highest maintenance plant that I have, and I just don't plant any more roses because I find them to be high maintenance. And they are thorny, so you have to be careful and wear thick gloves when you prune them. What I did this spring, usually I just prune occasionally. When I have time, I'll prune these, but this year I just was sort of frustrated with all the holes I had from the ants and from the beetles, and I ended up, after blooming, I ended up knocking it down like by half. I just chopped the whole thing down. I mean I pruned it properly, but it was like a pretty severe pruning, and I'm getting a pretty good flush of new blooms right now, and it's mid-August. So you can choose to do it that way, or you can just prune your roses individually as the season progresses, but I was pleased that it came back so quickly, and it is a pretty hardy rose. It's gotten 3 times the size of this before. You can prune it back pretty hard, so it's an easy care rose. It just doesn't look, doesn't look perfect because there's a lot of holes in the leaves. But down here there's alyssum. I have a couple varieties. This one has a little bit of purple in it, purple and white. It's super easy. It just spreads slowly over time, and I have a daylily here that is going to rebloom. It's a bright yellow one. And this is another kind of alyssum that I have that I enjoy because it just spills over onto the walkway. It just keeps going and going. And this started blooming in early May, and it's mid-August, and this will keep going and keep getting bigger and bigger, and it will just keep spreading until early November. I mean, this just keeps going and going. So I do like that about alyssum. And so I just have some daylilies in here that are going to come back. What I did is I planted my daughter planted some zinnias in the front of the house, and I ended up transplanting some of them over here. I usually have a lot more zinnias growing earlier on in the season, but I got started late with the zinnias, and I just have a whole bunch in the front of the garden, and I moved these just to the front of the house just to have a little color over here. This here is called cypress vine. I have never grown this before, and I've seen it before. I know it grows really easily in the south. It has little red flowers, and I'm excited to see this bloom because hummingbirds apparently love this plant. I have a little hook thing here. I used to have a hummingbird feeder on this. I may put it back on there. I saw a hummingbird the other morning in the garden, so I may put that back. But I am excited to see this. It apparently has little red trumpet-shaped flowers, so it's really doing well. And I'll show you what else I have here. Over here, this is the other half of the front walkway. There's just some ageratum, which I've talked about before. It's a super easy plant. It's an annual in the zone, but it will self-sow, which means it will drop its seeds, and you'll just get free plants, seedlings the next year on their own. So I had like 1 or 2 ageratum plants that I had grown from seed last summer, and then this spring I had all these little seedlings all over the place, so I kind of spread them out as best I could in this little area here. And I have a bright yellow daylily, some alyssum is mixed in here, 2 types of alyssum. That's the one that has a little bit of purple in it. And over here, I can't wait to show you this when it's more in bloom. Morning glories I grew years ago, and the deer devoured them all, and I decided to give it another try this year, and they are blooming very nicely. They only bloom in the morning, so I'll do a video showing you those blooms. But I've been spraying them with deer repellent, and the deer keep nibbling at them. So they just love them. And I put 2 different trellises just to try to get them to climb. But they seem to want to just climb over these ageratum, and I have to, you know, find a way to get them to climb back on the trellis. I know in other parts of the country, morning glory is like a weed, and I did see it growing. I used to live in Jersey City, which is right across the Hudson River from New York City, and I would see morning glory growing all the time on the fences in parking lots in Jersey City, and it was like really beautiful. And I think it was more like a weed there because it just kind of grew on its own in the parking lots. So I know in other zones it can become a weed, but here I've never had it reseed for me or anything like that. So I'm sure that, you know, it won't come back, but it's beautiful. I just have to keep the deer away. And that's it really for this front garden area. That's in terms of, oh, there's one more thing that's in bloom. Let me show you that one. Okay, so I almost forgot about this. So I think I showed this in another video. We just have a couple of juniper bushes here growing in the front, and there is a few different types of perennial verbena. I love this one because it grows really quickly, and it's great for August and September when a lot of other flowers in my garden have gone past. This just like ramps up. It loves dry spots. It likes the heat. It spreads rather quickly. You have to keep an eye on it. But I find that it goes well in this one spot here, and I can keep it contained in this little area here. And I was at another public garden the other day in New Jersey. There's many public gardens, and I was at the Leonard Buck Arboretum, and I noticed there they had another perennial verbena that looks similar. It's a Canadian, I think it's like rose verbena or Canadian verbena, and it had even more delicate leaves, so I will look into that one. In the past I've grown annual verbena, and I found it to be a lot of work deadheading, and I'm all about easy care, low maintenance plants, and I find that the annual verbena is just too much work for me, and I prefer perennials because I want them to come back every year without, you know, spending money at the nursery. So I like this perennial very much. It's verbena rigida, R-I-G-I-D-A, and I planted this from seed about 4 years ago, and it's very reliable, and I think it looks really nice with the alyssum, and that's in bloom right now. So I'll continue to show more of what's in bloom, and I'll do another garden tour in the next few days. Thank you so much for watching.